Hi, I'm Wesley. I work at the University of Utah Writing Center, and today we're going to talk fiction. As I cite my sources, it's going to appear on the screen next to me in MLA formatting. If you're watching this, you probably feel like you're already the master of the 5-paragraph essay. You can probably crank out a classic essay with a solid introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a blow-me-out-of-the-water conclusion in no time. But when it comes to creative writing, you probably have been staring at your cursor for so long that you just gave up and started watching YouTube videos.
Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
You feel like you don't know the first thing about creative writing, but I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. Let me tell you why. It is because what you and I and many others think about creative writing is wrong. You see, we think about poems, novels, short stories, plays, and basically fiction in general. However, your 5-paragraph essay on rhetorical devices used in kitten memes is also creative writing. Look at the word creative writing. If we split it apart, we get 2 parts, create and the suffix iv. Create means to cause something to come into being. The suffix iv means to express tendency or function of. So what you did in your 5-paragraph essay on rhetorical devices used in kitten memes is create an original idea and put it into a form or genre, just like when Dr. Seuss put his idea of protecting natural resources in the Lorax. In a study done by Leigh Casorla, one student, when asked to describe creative writing, said this: "Creative writing is writing in which the writer is concerned with craft. Academic writing is often creative writing, as are the genres more commonly listed under creative writing: fiction, poetry, drama, creative nonfiction, etc." So now that you understand that you do have what it takes to become a creative writer, you'd probably like to know the basics of fiction writing, the genre most commonly associated with creative writing. Well, it's very similar to your essay. First, you're going to start with what I call the bigger picture elements, and you're going to work your way down to the smaller elements. To start off, let's decide who your audience is going to be. What is your purpose in writing to that audience? What are your goals in writing in general? Knowing your audience is going to help you determine what form or genre you're going to use. If the purpose of your story is to argue a point, then you're going to be writing in more of a literary form. Take J.R.R. Tolkien, for example. His novel, The Hobbit, has captivated readers for many years. This is because his audience and his purpose were clear. His study of Beowulf, a medieval epic, motivated him to explore his own writing. It was also at a time in his life when he was trying to come up with literature that would be entertaining to his children. So The Hobbit would fall somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, being both entertaining and intellectual. Another bigger picture element to look at is point of view. What point of view is your story being told from? Is your narrator omniscient, meaning all-knowing? Is your narrator speaking from first person or third person? All of these are important questions to consider, because once you've selected your point of view, you're most likely going to stick with it throughout the rest of your story. You will also want to decide where your story is going to take place. This is simply known as the setting. Additionally, you will have to decide who your characters are going to be. Who's going to be your protagonist or main character? Who or what will be the antagonist? Do you want your characters to be likable, like Samwise Gamgee, detestable, like Saruman, or somewhere in between, like Boromir? Considering these questions will help your readers better identify with your characters. Looking at Sherlock Holmes can give us a good idea of how these bigger picture elements work in relation to your story. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's protagonist, Sherlock Holmes, was based off from a medical surgeon, Joseph Bell, who was known for making large conclusions from small observations. Not only does Doyle's personal inspiration provide him with iconic main characters, but it also provides him with an iconic point of view and an iconic setting. In this case, it is from the first-person point of view of a medical doctor, Dr. Watson, who tells stories that take place near
221B Baker Street.
Once you have established your characters, it is easier to establish one of the most important elements of your story, conflict. Loosely put, conflict can be described as what a character wants and what is stopping him or her from reaching that goal. For instance, Frodo wants the ring to be destroyed. The principal villain, Sauron, and several lesser villains want to prevent him at all costs from destroying the ring because of their own personal interests. This creates tension, which is the essence of conflict. You get to decide whether your conflict will be internal, meaning mental or emotional, or external, meaning physical obstacles. Frodo has obvious external conflicts, but Tolkien adds the additional element of internal conflict as Frodo fights the urge to put the ring on. Conflict is the main driving force of your story. Next up is plot. Robert McKee, in his book, Story, go figure, says that plot is the writer's choice of events and their design in time. Once you have established the main elements of story, you can begin to organize them into plot. There are many different styles of plot. The basic plot looks like this. It includes exposition, how a story begins, the rising action, how the story is complicated, a climax, which is the biggest turning point in the story, the falling action, what happens after the turning point, and the resolution, or simply put, the end. There are other plot forms that include more complications and conflict, such as this kind of plot. There are, however, other smaller elements, such as voice, dialogue, diction, syntax, and, you guessed it, grammar. All of these can be looked at once the larger, more global issues are addressed first. Here's the bottom line. If you want to become a better fiction writer, the best advice that I can give you is read. The more you read and study other genres and other forms, the more capable you will become in writing in those forms. You will be able to find your own original voice. The more original your piece is within its form, the better it will be. And in some cases, if it's original enough, it will become its own genre. Don't forget, our tutors in the University of Utah Writing Center are here to help. You can always come in and talk with one of our tutors to brainstorm, evaluate a rough draft, or polish a final piece. So feel free to schedule an appointment. And remember, you have my bow.
That's my axe.
All right.
All right, guys. To sign up for an appointment in the Writing Center, click here. And if you want to see another amazing video like this, click here.